Hello and welcome to What the F*** Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Amditis. Let's get to it. It's Wednesday, August 16th, 2023. Welcome to day 939. The Federal Reserve warned of significant inflation risks, which could require them to raise interest rates again this year. During their July policy meeting, most of the officials said inflation remained unacceptably high. A couple, however, said the risks of raising rates too much versus too little had become more two-sided, and it was important that the committee's decisions balance the risk of an inadvertent over-tightening of policy against the cost of an insufficient tightening. The July meeting resulted in a quarter percentage point rate hike to a range between 5.25% and 5.5%, a 22-year high, and marked the 11th hike over the past 17 months when they raised rates from near zero. Inflation, meanwhile, eased to 3.2% in July, down from a high of more than 9% in mid-2022. Meanwhile, the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate rose to 7.16%, the highest level since 2001. Mortgage rates have more than doubled since the beginning of the year. Mortgage applications, meanwhile, were 29% lower than the same week a year ago, slipping to the second lowest level since 1995. Moving on, a paid campaign fundraiser for George Santos was indicted in New York on federal charges for allegedly impersonating Kevin McCarthy's former chief of staff. Samuel Miele was charged with 4 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of aggravated identity theft for sending fraudulent fundraising emails to more than a dozen potential contributors. In those messages, he claimed to be a high-ranking aide to a member of the House with leadership responsibilities. He earned a commission of 15% for each contribution he raised, according to prosecutors. 3 months ago, Santos was arrested on charges of wire fraud, money laundering, theft of public funds, and making false statements to Congress. Meanwhile, a federal appeals court limited access to a widely used abortion pill after finding that the FDA failed to follow the proper process when it loosened the regulations in 2016 to make mifepristone more easily available. Mifepristone will remain available for now under existing regulations while the litigation continues and the DOJ is expected to appeal the ruling to the Supreme Court. And finally, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis proposed a March 4th trial date for Trump and his 18 co-defendants. The date is 1 day before Super Tuesday, when more than a dozen states hold their Republican primary contests. Willis also asked to schedule arraignments for the defendants for the week of September 5th, saying the dates do not conflict with Trump's other criminal cases. The trial's start date will ultimately be decided by a judge. Trump's criminal trial in New York on charges of falsifying business records related to hush money payments to Stormy Daniels, meanwhile, is set for March 25th, and a federal judge in Florida set a May 20th trial date in the special counsel Jack Smith case accusing Trump of mishandling classified documents. In a separate federal case related to Trump's alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election, Smith's office proposed a January 2nd trial start. And in the polls, the Associated Press says 35% of Americans have a favorable view of Trump, while 62% have an unfavorable view. Among Republicans, 70% have a favorable opinion, and 63% say they want him to run again for president. 53% of Americans say they approve of the Justice Department indicting Trump over his efforts to remain in office after losing the 2020 election. And Quinnipiac says 54% of Americans think Trump should be prosecuted following the federal indictment accusing him of attempting to overturn the 2020 election. 42% think Trump should not be prosecuted. 64% say the federal criminal charges against Trump are serious, while 32% say they are not serious. That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Amditis.